Give me some love for Kagetsu.
I mean, she's just everything that you would want in a leader. I believe like she would do stuff just so flawlessly. And like when you watch her, she's just like so captivating that you're just like, oh my gosh. And just the way she's able to like be kind and patient with you like while you are learning. Like I think that is everything like you want in a leader, but she'll also like push you to your limit to where you feel like you can't do something or you can't go anymore, and like you find out that you can, and it's like because of her. She's just so sweet and so motivating. We were very lucky I was very lucky to have her while we were there.
Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, your weekly podcast about all things Japanese women's wrestling, Joshi Wrestling. I'm your host, Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. I want to start by saying I'm super jealous and super excited for all the Joshi fans in Japan right now. I love seeing pictures from the shows, the 2 shots with the Joshi talent. It makes me warm inside to read about the excitement about visiting Kurikan Hall for the first time and trying to figure out how to use Japanese toilets. It took me a while to figure that out as well. Thank you all for downloading last week's episode of the Joshi Pod, which featured an interview with Little Swole Nicole Savoy. I sincerely appreciate all the positive feedback from everybody. If you'd like to support the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees store now. I'll put a link to the Pro Wrestling Tees store in the show notes. Gonna be honest, this is gonna be a Stardom heavy show this week. Stardom is the talk of Joshi Wrestling, and a ton of news came out after the Stardom Year-End Climax 2019 show, which I'll review later in the show. We do have our regular top 3 headlines of the week, 3-ish headlines of the week, maybe a little more, including another Stardom retirement. We look at some of the big shows this week in Japan, including Wave and Ice Ribbon at Kurikan Hall. We see where Joshi performers are performing outside of Japan, and in the big main event interview, it also has a Stardom tie-in. Alex Gracia is going to join us and talk about her experiences almost about a year ago visiting Japan and wrestling for Stardom. Without further ado, let's get to the big headlines of the week. And those are brought to you by Quiet White Designs. If you need a logo for a t-shirt, a podcast, or anything else, like a t-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com/TheJoshipod, please reach out to Nolan and the team at Quiet White Designs. Search for them on Facebook, QUIETWYATT, one word, Designs. You can also find their products on Redbubble. I'll put a link to their Twitter account on the show notes as well. Headline number 1. Ettu Kagetsu? On the heels of Stardom Suzuki retiring this last week, Kagetsu also announced she will be retiring. Her final match with Stardom will be on January 26th, and her final match overall will be on a self-produced show on January 24th. Yesterday, Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer, I'm going to read directly from the Observer. I'm going to cut out a little bit here and there, but I'm going to try to read it directly. It says, Kagetsu, 27, who held the World of Stardom title in the early part of the year, announced her retirement on Christmas Day. This came after losing a power struggle and also ties into the retirement of Hazuki. Kagetsu, born Yukari Ishino, quit high school after 9th grade to become a wrestler with the Sendai Girls promotion and debuted at 15 and was a full-timer at 16. She left Sendai Girls in 2015 and joined Stardom as a regular in 2016. Her last match with Stardom will be on January 26th in her home city of Osaka, and should be promoting a retirement show of her own on 2/24 in Osaka. Hazuki retired with her last match on 12/24 at Kurikan Hall. Kagetsu was in charge of training all the women, and Hazuki was her best student, and then became her most trusted ally. In a sense, Hazuki, because of that, also had significant locker room power. Kagetsu's management style was compared to that of Bill Watts, and that doesn't fly in today's world. She was finding people when they were late and taking away personal time. Management stepped in and once told her not to do that, but she continued to do the same thing. Most of the women came to management to protest Kagetsu being in charge. A vote was held, and Kagetsu was voted out as the head trainer and locker room boss. With her out of power, both Kagetsu and Hazuki lost interest in the company. Hazuki decided to retire, basically feeling wrestling at Madison Square Garden in April was her goal, and she achieved that. That also explains Kagetsu constantly bad-mouthing the new owners since the Bushi Road purchase was announced, which led to her announcing her retirement, putting a positive spin on it by saying, Stardom is in good hands with Mayu Iwatani in charge. For the public, Kagetsu said her retirement had nothing to do with Hazuki, and that Hazuki's retirement may have been due to more difficult times than pleasant ones. So that's what Dave Meltzer reported in The Observer yesterday. Take everything you read with a grain of salt. sports, news, probably especially with the wrestling industry. I'm sure Dave has a trusted source providing him this information. I've written for newspapers and magazines in the past and have been provided excellent information and terrible information by trusted sources. Not sure we'll ever know the full truth. I'm sure it's until I start my Joshi shoot videos, we'll never know the truth. I'm kidding, of course. Sure, there's Kagetsu's truth, there's Stardom's truth, and there's probably the truth somewhere in the middle. Kagetsu has announced on Twitter that she's mentioning some people she'd like to face before she hangs it up. How does the Prime Minister versus the Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto sound? Others have left Stardom and done their own promotions, so who's to say Kagetsu won't do the same? I think one thing we all need to remember that is wrestling's a job for them. It's not their lives, and whatever Kagetsu and Hazuki choose to do next, wish them nothing but happiness, Headline number 2. Stardom entering a new kingdom. Mayu Iwatani, who was named Stardom MVP at their awards ceremony earlier this week, and Arisa Hoshiki will face Julia and Hana Kimura in a dark match on the first night of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom event at the Tokyo Dome. This is definitely a Bushiroad directive to expose Stardom to a larger audience, and is clearly a sign of the wrestlers they plan on featuring in the coming year. If Kagetsu wasn't retiring, might she be in the match? Who knows? I find putting Julia in such a high-profile match so quickly is interesting, and teaming her with Hana, who she just had a blood feud with, is interesting as well. I'd much prefer to see Utami or Momo in the match, or Tam. I think they've earned it, but it is commercial for Stardom. They've handpicked their quote-unquote favorites to show off their brand. I really hope they don't run any angles during the match, as I don't think many people in the crowd will know how to react, and I don't want to see Julie or Hana lose either, so I'm not sure how they're going to get out of this one. A time limit draw would fall flat, and it was probably too long for a pre-show match. The reason it is a dark match is that Stardom and New Japan have separate TV deals with rival networks. No word yet if it's going to be on Stardom World at this point. Headline number 3. Quick hits around the Joshi world. Sumari Natsu has opened an international online store for her goods. I'll put a link in the show notes. I think it's great. I think it's thinking outside of the box and thinking bigger. And Natsu's always done that, and she's an awesome entrepreneur. She just had a very successful self-produced show, so yeah, I can't expect anything else from Natsu, but thinking wisely and thinking very much like a businesswoman. Don't underestimate Natsu. She's determined, along with Natsuko Tora, Jamie Hayter, and Martina, to keep Oedo Tai alive. Also in the around the Joshi world, Seedlings Nanae Takahashi will have surgery in early 2020, and her return is not certain. She's a well-respected veteran. She's got a lot of miles on her tires. She's been around. She's in her 40s, so she's been around for quite a bit. And seeing somebody like Kagetsu retiring at 27, and seeing somebody like Nanae who's in her 40s and still performing at a really high level, but I guess there's no guarantee that she's going to be back. So let's hope she gets enough health back to, if she wants to come back to the ring, and if not, just live a healthy life after wrestling. And finally, on the notes this week, on the headlines, welcome to the Gato Move experience. Gato Move has announced they will have an on-demand service starting January 1st, 2020, called the Gato Move Experience, or Gato Move X. In their tweet, they said their vision is to give a full show experience on VOD. Don't fear, they're just going to continue to put content out on YouTube without any plans to put out less. I've been lucky enough to see shows at Ichikaya Chocolate Square, and the wrestling is only about half the fun. If they can somehow get the feeling of being at Ichikaya across in video, we are in for a huge treat.
まもなく2番線に渋谷新宿方面行きが
The show review this week is the Stardom Year-End Climax 2019 on December 24th. They drew a great crowd of 1,334 fans. It looks like some foreign fans came in a little early before Wrestle Kingdom and got to catch the big Stardom event. Looking back with hindsight, in the match they booked for the Tokyo Dome, you can see why they booked the show the way they did. Not all the shows have been released yet on Stardom World. I'll provide full results and comments on the matches I have seen so far. It was a successful show, I think. The opening match was a dark match. It was a Saya Ida and Saya Kamitani, and Itsuki Hoshino defeated Queen's Quest Hina, Leo Nozaki, and Rina. You kind of had to figure that the Sayas and Itsuki would get the win there. They have big plans for those three. A photo book just recently came out for Itsuki and Kamitani. The first match on the main card was Oedo Tai's Jamie Hayter, Martina, and Sumari Natsu. They defeated Tokyo Cyber Squad's Death Yamasan, Jungle Kyona, and Raka. Haven't seen this one yet. It hasn't come out, but real happy to see that Oedo Tai got a big win. Jamie, Martina, and Natsu were going to try to keep things together. I was a bit disappointed to see Jungle so low on the card. The next match was the Artist of Stardom titles, the 6-woman titles. Zumi Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishida defeated stars Saki Kashima, Starlight Kid, and Tam Nakano. Momo pinned Saki after the Peach Sunrise. It was a good match. You fully expected Queen's Quest to hold on to the titles. Starlight Kid's going to have to wait a little while longer before she gets that championship run. The first of the big matches was the retirement match where Natsuko Tora defeated Hazuki. I haven't seen this match yet. It's being released today. Hazuki definitely left her mark on Natsuko's face. You can check that out on social media. She left her footprint literally on Natsuko's face. I did see some of the retirement ceremony. It was nice to see Yuna Manase and Koguma being part of it. Maybe Koguma's going to make a return soon. Hazuki's choice of words were quite interesting. It's a bit of a slippery slope when you use Google Translate to do some literal translations of Japanese. She didn't have the best things to say about Stardom. Not sure if it was in heel character or out of character or what. Stardom's allowed it on their social media, so it makes me think it was a little bit in character as a heel with 08 Otai. The next big match was Julia and Hana Kimura, who went to a 15-minute time limit draw. I think you kind of knew going in there wasn't going to be a definitive finish in this match. There's more story to come with those two. This was a fight. It's pretty much what I expected. They fought around Kurikan Hall. Julia had a lot more support than I thought she would. I'm of the opinion they could have waited for this match for a while and built it up and made it a much bigger match. And I don't understand the tag team match these two have, or the tag team they're going to be at Wrestle Kingdom, going from Blood Feud to teammates. I don't understand that, but maybe they'll surprise me. The next match was the Wonder of Stardom title match. Arisa Hoshiki defeated Konami, and I was hoping for a title change here, but alas, it was not meant to be. They had a terrific match. I can't wait for them to give Konami a real big push. Utami is going to be Arisa's next challenger on January 19th at Kurikan Hall. We need to get Konami pushed. We need more belts for Konami, bigger push for Konami. I think she's terrific. The main event was Mayu Iwatani and Kagetsu. I've only seen highlights of this match. I haven't seen the full match yet. It was released before the time I started recording this, but by all accounts, it was an excellent match, as I think everybody expected. I didn't really see Kagetsu winning the belt heading into 2020, and with her retirement announcement, it's even more clear that why they kept the belt on Mayu. I would have kept it on Mayu also and had her be the face of Stardom into 2020. Momo Watanabe did come out and challenge Mayu to be her next opponent for the title. Again, a real good show for Kurikan Hall. Big crowd. Let's hope they can keep this momentum going into 2020.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Steve. I'm the host of The Last Podcast You'd Want. Do you like movies? Well, that's what we talk about. I bring a guest on, maybe more than one, and we talk about movies they like, movies they don't like, movies from their childhood, movies that give them nightmares. Just some of the few topics that we talk about on The Last Podcast You'd Want. So if you like movies, you could find us on Apple Podcast, you could find us on Google Podcast, you could find us on most major podcast outlets. Tip the veal, try the staff, check out the show.
Let's take a quick look at the shows this week in Japan. On the 27th, tonight, Tokyo Joshi Pro is at the Itabashi Green Hall. It's their final tune-up before the big card on January 4th, which we'll preview next week. And happy birthday to Yuka Sakazaki. On the 28th, Marvelous is in Yokohama, Actress Girls in Osaka, and Ice Ribbons at the Ice Ribbon Dojo. On the 29th, Waves at Kurikan Hall. It's main evented by Takumi Iroha defending her Wave Championship against Nagisa Nozaki. It's Iroha's 6th defense. Pure J has a show in Hanayashiki, Diana's in Kanagawa, and Gato moves at Ichigaya Chocolate Square. On the 30th, Gato moves right back at it. I think all these shows are sold out at Ichikaya, which is amazing. On the 30th, also, Actress Girls is in Shinkiba First Ring. On New Year's Eve, Ice Ribbons at Kurikan Hall for Ribbon Mania 2019. Maya Yukihi defends her title for the second time. And then Tequila Saya's retirement match, where she'll face 38 wrestlers in 1-minute matches. Gato move again is in Ichikaya Chocolate Square on the 31st. Again, I think all these are sold out. If not, make your ticket plans soon. On the 1st, Gato Move is at Chikaya Chocolate Square, Waves at Shinkiba First Ring, and YMZ is at the OG Basement Monstar, which is a great place to go watch a show. I keep spouting my love for the OG Basement Monstar. On the 2nd, Oz Academy is in Okinawa, and Stardom is at Shinkiba First Ring. Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling present Wrestle Queendom 3 on January 11th in London. Maki Ito will face Session Moth Martina, and Yuka Sakazaki will face the winner of the match between Nightshade and Lana Austin. They'll face each other at Eve's Battle Cry event on January 4th. Ticket information will be on the show notes for both shows. If you're in the area, go check them out. Sumi Sakai returns to Southern California on January 10th at PCW Ultra Anniversary Show. She'll be defending her Ultra Women's Championship against Ruby Reyes. Again, I'll put a link for the tickets and that show on the show notes. And Tokyo Joshi Pro, WrestleMania weekend, Friday, April 3rd at WrestleCon. Still waiting for an on-sale date for tickets. I reached out to WrestleCon and have not heard back yet as to when those will go first on sale.
Hey guys, this is Zoe Sky, and you're listening to the Joshi Pod.
Before I get into the big main event interview with Alex Gracia, I wanted to thank you all again for downloading and listening to this episode of the Joshi Pod. If you'd like to follow the show on Twitter, you can follow us at the Joshi Pod. You can follow me at Eric San Diego. Please remember to visit ProWrestlingTees.com. From January 1st to January 5th, you can get 20% off everything on the site using the code NEWYEAR, one word. Support past guests like Kikyo and Nicole Savoy. I'll put a link for all the Joshi wrestlers that have Pro Wrestling Tees stores on the show notes. It's a great way to support those women. I will talk to you guys next week. Arigato gozaimasu! She trained at the Texas Wrestling Academy. In 2018, she made her professional wrestling debut. Later in 2018, she made her debut for both Rise and Shimmer. She was a regular on the Texas independent scene. She's a Barbie enthusiast. She's a familiar foe with the previous Joshi Pod guest, Hyan. I'm super excited to see her wrestle live for the first time next month on January 18th in Tijuana for the Crash. And about a year ago, she made a trip over to Japan to tour with Stardom. This is where I'd like to bring onto the show the Pink Dream, Alex Gracia. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So it's been about a year that you went over to Japan.
Yes, it is so crazy. I was talking about that the other day because I left New Year's Eve last year. So I spent New Year's like in a plane heading to Japan. So it's so crazy that I was getting ready to leave a year ago at this time.
So how did you find out, or what connection did you have to get over to Stardom in Japan?
They just reached out to me one day, and I honestly thought it was spam because I was like, there is no way they're reaching out to me right now. Because I had only about 5 months wrestling experience, like from my debut. And they emailed me and they said that they were interested in bringing me over for a tour at the beginning of the following year. And I was just kind of like, this doesn't sound right. I don't believe like this is actually happening. But then like their official Twitter account followed me on Twitter and they like started following me on things. And I was like, maybe this is happening. So then I like replied back and I was like, yes, I'm there. I'm 100% in.
So who was they? It wasn't like Shirley to Melissa. It was somebody else who reached out to you?
Yes. So it was Sunny. So I know he works over there in Japan a lot with the international girls.
Oh, good. So was going to Japan a dream of yours before you started wrestling?
It honestly was something that just seemed so out of reach. Like at the time, like when I started wrestling, I was just trying to get through like the next match just because I'm just like taking things day by day. And it's like you have all these dreams and all these goals and just knowing like how amazing the wrestling is over there. Like it literally wasn't even in my thinking process because it just didn't seem like anything that was going to happen anytime soon. So I am super thankful that I was able to go as soon as I went.
So you land on New Year's. Who greets you at the airport?
Rossi.
So Rossi himself, was he wearing a really cool suit or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. He wears his like trench coat with his hat. So he picked me up and then we took our ride back to the apartment and everything. So it was really cool. We had our little one-on-one time together as soon as I got there.
How was that? Was it awkward at all, or was it kind of comfortable, or how was it?
No, Rossi's the best. He's so funny.
His English is good enough, or he can speak pretty clearly with you?
Yes, he can speak English.
He's kayfabing all of us.
Yes, I believe so. I really think so.
I've talked to him like 3 or 4 times in Japan. He kind of like acted like he didn't know what I was saying to him. What a jerk.
He does that with us too. It's okay.
So who are your roommates at the apartment?
Well, my tour, I was there with Bobby Tyler, Jamie Hayter, B. Priestley, and Viper, and Sadie Gibbs.
So you had a pretty good group of foreigners with you there.
I had a great group. I loved every single one of them. I was the only American, so that was kind of an adjustment for me too. I was like, this is different.
A bunch of British girls, I guess, right?
Yeah, I was like the oddball out. I was like, this has never happened to me before.
But also, I mean, that's some pretty experienced women you're living with as well, who've been in the industry for a bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was amazing.
So had you traveled internationally anywhere before you went to this trip to Japan?
For wrestling, no, I hadn't. Like, I had taken vacations and stuff, like, with my family. But for wrestling internationally, no, that was my first place.
So was there any, like, culture shock when you got there, when you first started walking down the street or going to stores or what have you?
Oh, there's so much culture shock. Just, it is so clean over there. Just clean and organized, and everybody's just so well behaved. Like, I was like, this is like so different than a lot of places in America, I feel like. I mean, even like the trash room in the apartment, like everything was like squeaky clean, and like everything was separated, like glass and plastic and paper, and I was like, whoa, like
they have like 8 trash cans outside.
Yes, and you're just like getting anxiety, like where does this bottle go?
Is it clear? Is it colored glass? What is this? So I'm guessing when you and Viper and B. Priestley and Jamie Hayter are walking down the street, you guys draw some attention, don't you?
Yeah, I think people definitely know, like, oh, they're probably wrestlers, because I mean, I have pink hair, and then like Bobby had green hair, and like it's like we stand out. We definitely stand out.
They think foreigners are crazy, and we kind of are.
Yeah, I know. Even if we aren't crazy, it's crazy to them.
Yeah, we look a little crazy at least. So I ask everybody about this. Tell me about your convenience stores experiences in Japan.
Oh yeah, the conveni. So, I mean, we walk there probably every single day, multiple times a day, just because that's like, they have everything there. But, so something I became obsessed with, there was, you know how you can go to like a convenience store and like get ice cream? So there was sweet potato ice cream. And every single day I would like eye it, like, should I get it?
You weren't sure?
And then as soon as I got it, I was getting it every single day. And then I think it was like Sadie got hooked on like the sweet potato ice cream too. Like, it was so good. Like, I became obsessed.
So was it kind of like a sorority house where you guys lived out together? You had fun and parties and all kinds of good stuff?
Oh, I mean, like, it was just the time of our lives. It's like going to summer camp and meeting your best friends. And we just did everything together. And, like, we're all trying to figure this out on our own. I mean, most of the girls had already had a tour there before, but it was Bobby and Sadie and my first tour. So, I mean, it's just going on this, like, experience and this big adventure and just doing it together. So it was awesome.
You kind of have a tie together now between the group of you, right?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I made, like, friends for life. Like, we still keep in contact even with the time changes. I know, like, even from UK to US, the time change is huge. But when we all went to New York, like, for Mania week and everything. And so we all got to, like, catch up there. And I've, like, ran into, like, Sadie recently because of, like, AEW stuff. So it's just been amazing, and just like getting to catch up. It's like you never like left each other.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're living in the house. Talk about the dojo experience. Did you have to go through the whole dojo trainings and things like that?
Yeah, so we had dojo every week, and that was just awesome too. Like I love training. Like I'm like that person that it's like, oh, she's weird. Like I'm like, I love school. Like I love training. So that
I'm
was
gonna
like
have to, I'm gonna have to hang up this call. I don't like you anymore.
that was like one of my like that was just so awesome. Like it teaches you so much, and it makes you have to like grow in wrestling so fast, because I mean, getting to train with the girls that they have in Stardom, for one, but then two, a lot of them don't speak English, so you're just getting pushed to like your limits. And I think I grew more in those 2 months I was there probably than like all the time I had spent like before, like the 5-6 months or whatever. So I mean, like getting to go back, I'm just like, oh, okay, I would like know what to expect. And yeah, it's just like some of the best things you can do for yourself as far as wrestling, I believe.
Who was running the trainings when you were there?
Kagetsu mostly, and then like Mayu was there, but she was hurt at the time. But they were like the two leaders for sure.
So I mean, I don't know if you heard or not. Kagetsu announced her retirement.
I know.
Month. What? Tell me a little bit about Kagetsu. Give me some love for Kagetsu.
I mean, she's just everything that you would want in a leader. I believe like she would do stuff just so flawlessly, and like when you watch her, she's just like so captivating that you're just like, oh my gosh. And just the way she's able to like be kind and patient with you like while you are learning, like I think that is everything like you want in a leader. But she'll also like push you to your limit to where you feel like you can't do something or you can't go anymore, and like you find out that you can, and it's like because of her. She's just so sweet and so motivating. We were very lucky I was very lucky to have her while we were there.
That's great to hear. She's 27, retiring. 27's awfully young to retire.
I know, it's crazy over there, but they start so young.
I think she started when she was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
All right, so there's not like a million Hindu squats or anything like that you have to do at the dojo training?
I mean, it depends on the day. Definitely depends on the day. Different days would be different for training. So it might be like hardcore conditioning, or it might be like working with your factions on like different stuff for shows. So I mean, it just varied.
How did your drop kick improve while you were there? People always tell me their drop kick improves.
Oh yeah, I had to do so many drop kick drills, but like I came back with like a stellar drop kick, so I was like almost like to where they're like, okay, calm down, Alex.
So how long were you there before you actually had your first match?
A day.
So were you pretty jet lagged going into the match?
I was so jet lagged, and I was terrified. Because I think it was January 2nd was the first show, and I was the first match. So I'm there in a different country, just totally new to everyone and everything. Because like most of even like the foreign girls, like they all knew each other because they're from like the same country. And like I'm just there by myself. I had no one to watch go on before me. Like I'm just like, what? I'm first? Okay. Just throw me right in.
So your first match was at Shinkiba First Ring. What'd you think about Shinkiba?
Oh, it was so cool. It was just so cool. I mean, just even getting to be like in a Stardom ring, like it just didn't even hit me like that everything was even happening. Because like I said, I mean, we land in Japan and you're already like doing a show, and then it was like after all that you finally get to like be like, whoa, I actually just did a match there. Like everything was just surreal. Like I feel like it didn't matter like where we were over there. Everything like made me so emotional.
But I think it's kind of cool though. Shinkiba is like a building just for wrestling only.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool setup.
It's very intimate too. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and so it's packed, and so it's just I love seeing like looking around and just seeing like people everywhere.
How did fans take to you from the get-go?
I think they took pretty well. Like I got like pink streamers and roses.
Oh, you got streamers right away, or did it take a little
My
bit?
first match, yeah, even Sunny came up to me and he's like, "Did you get streamers?" And I was like, "Yeah, pink ones."
So you wrestled Natsuko Tora and Kairi Yoneyama. That's a pretty good first match to have.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's like I was terrified.
So the next day you have a battle royal, and then later on you have a match with Saki Kashima and Tam
Yes.
against Azumi, Konami, and Momo.
Yes.
Talk about wrestling against Azumi, Konami, and Momo. I think they're all just wonderful.
Oh, they are. And like that was one of the matches that was one of my favorites like while I was over there. I think just cuz like just like my team and like my faction, I'm just like, "Yeah, stars." Like I was just so happy, and like it just didn't, again, you're just like letting it all sink in, and then like getting to wrestle with who you're wrestling with and wrestling who you're wrestling against. Like again, it's like it's been a year and I'm still like, did that really happen? Like that's freaking awesome.
But how good are they? How good is Konami? How good is Momo?
Everyone is as good as what you hear.
And you being so new to the industry as well, I mean, it must have been mind-blowing almost, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. And it's just such an honor, like getting to wrestle like in the same ring as some of those girls or all those girls. And yeah, I was just so new. I just had no idea what I was doing. Like doing my best out there.
So with the language barrier, I mean, I don't want to give like trade secrets away or anything like that, but how do they walk you through the match?
I mean, I feel like wrestling is a universal language to all wrestlers, and when you are like a wrestler and all that, like I feel like that's when you finally like you understand everybody. And I think that's like what's so special about it is like even if we didn't speak the same language, like we all understood like what we meant or what we were trying to do. And so like that was really cool, and that was made wrestling even more special to me, honestly.
That's great. And then you had a Stars versus Stars match as well, where you're against Arisa Hoshiki, who's one of the top wrestlers right now over in Stardom.
Yes.
She was kind of just coming back not too long after that. I think she just came back from her hiatus, I guess.
Yeah.
How was she to work with?
I mean, everyone was great. Like everyone's amazing, and they just want to teach you, and you just learn so much from them. And she's like the sweetest human being like ever. Like
she has the sweetest smile. You just wonder. But she's a killer though too, you know.
She gave me, like, after the match, she brought me this little present, and it was like this little whistle, and it was like a little keychain, and she told me, she was just like, "Present for you because you bring happiness." And I was like, I might start crying right now, because that is the sweetest thing ever.
And then she kicked your head off, right? No?
Yeah. I don't think it was mine. It was someone else's, because I remember how out of it whoever got kicked was.
You're lucky, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it was not me.
Somebody else that's people are big fans of is Starlight Kid. You work with her quite a bit. She seems like a sweetheart as well.
Yeah, she's just freaking athletic, and just even for her age and how long she's done it, it's like, whoa. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, she's getting real good. Her body is maturing. I mean, she's becoming a woman. Her body is maturing as well, and she's getting better and better and better.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
she already is amazing, so it's gonna be real exciting to see like how much she grows like in the future.
So you had some other big matches. You know, you wrestled against somebody I always ask everybody about. I have to ask you about. She's different than anybody else. Sumari Natsu. Tell me about wrestling Sumari Natsu.
It's like, again, like everything is just like I was so terrified going to every single match. Because I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's like, it makes you grow so much because you're like, this is who I'm about to like get in the ring with. Like, okay. And so, like once you're there and like you're in it, like everything, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, every single girl there is just amazing.
She's more of a comedy wrestler than she is in ring. I mean, she's good at what she does, but she's So how was it to wrestle like a comedy match over in Japan?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like I remember that match. Like I think it was with Saki, and she kept telling me to like say these words, and like I'm like. I don't really like cuss a lot or use like vulgar language, and like Saki's just telling me to say these words and I'm like screaming them, and they're like all these like derogatory words over there, and so everyone's like laughing. I was like, oh, they like this. I was like, that's cool. No, she is just like, she's a hoot.
She seems like fun. I mean, I like watch her interviews with the English subtitles and stuff. She just seems like such a character.
Yeah. She's
the
a
best.
firecracker for real.
Okay, so another place I want to ask you about is the KBS Hall in Kyoto with a big stained glass, windows behind you. That's you wrestled Utami there, correct?
Yes, for in a title match.
In a title match, yeah. So Utami's, I mean, we're gonna sound like a broken record. She's pretty amazing as well. What was it like to challenge for a championship in a building like that?
Okay, so first of all, when I heard about that match, I found out on Twitter. So I was like, is this real? Mm-hmm. Like I had no idea who I was gonna wrestle, and then all of a sudden it said it was like I was gonna be wrestling her for a title match, and then on top of it, like there, I was like, oh, okay, like this in I remember like telling someone there, I was like, you can't just put that information on Twitter. Like I need time to like let it sink in and stuff. And it was like a few days before or something like that. But that is like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to in my life. Like when I show my parents like pictures from matches, like I show them there, and I was like, just imagine like standing in that ring and like looking up, like the wall just goes so high, and you just feel like so small. And I think that's like another one of those moments where you're just like, wow, I'm here. Like I'm here and this is happening. And yeah, to have like that type of atmosphere and just all that like beautiful art was just so surreal.
I've been to Japan a few times. I've not gone there yet. It's on my bucket list to go to.
Oh, you have to. Like it's like breathtaking.
So traveling in Japan, you go from location to location, was it in the bus, or how did you guys get around?
Yeah, we have a Stardom van, so that's how we got to most places.
How were those rides? Was it kind of team building, or was everybody falling asleep in the bus?
You're mostly sleeping because they might be like 6 hours or however long. But yeah, it's definitely like we're all just like talking. And I think all of us there just got along so well. So it was cool. We're either doing our own thing or we're all talking or whatever. But they were so fun.
Which of the Japanese women did you become closest with, you think?
Saki, probably most definitely. Like we'll still message each other. Like she's like, I miss you, come back, and I'm like, I miss you too. Or we'll just randomly like send each other hearts. Like she is the cutest. I love her so much. I'm like, we were the Pink Dream Team, so I'm like, bring it back.
Bring her over here too. Let her come wrestle over here for
I
us.
know. I've told people that. I'm like, you need to bring her back. I was like, I don't have a tag partner. That'd be cool. I'd be a tag with her.
So you guys teamed together at Kirk and Hall versus Bobby Tyler and Hana Kimura.
Yes.
Hannah's another super duper star in the making. How was she to work with, or how was she? Yeah.
I honestly, like, in my opinion, I think was one of the best matches I had while I was in Japan. I think just I felt like a lot more comfortable with like Saki being there for me. And that match just was fun, and I felt like everyone just brought their A game. And like to be where we were, I was like, oh, this is great. This is so great. But I mean that they're just like they were a really fun team. And then Saki and I had just started like being a team, and so I think that was just like a really cool match to have, and two fun teams I think too.
What do you think makes Hana stand out a little bit from some of the other women over there? Well, why do you think she's why do you think she's so popular?
I don't know, like just her vibe and her energy, like that girl has so much charisma. Like she's just one of those people too that just draws you in. And like she's so fun to watch, and I feel like she's super confident, and people love to see confidence. And she's just so fun, and like she brings it every single time, and she loves what she does, and that reflects on how she performs. And so I think people get drawn to that.
So your first match was against Natsuko Tora, and your last match, I think, was also against Natsuko Tora.
Yeah, it was a fatal 4-way.
With Jamie and Sumi Sakai was in the match as well.
Yes.
So you knew this is your last match. What are you thinking as you head into your last match in Osaka?
I just told myself, I was like, I noticed a difference where it's like I'm going into this match like more confident than I have this entire trip. And even like afterwards, like just even like the girls from like Stardom, they're just saying like how much like I improved, and like that is honestly like more than I could have asked for. That's all you want. It's like I just want to be able to like grow and like be the best player that I can. And so having a fatal 4-way with all those women, like I think was super cool, because again, it's like someone from my first match, and then someone that I hadn't wrestled the entire trip, and then you have Jamie, who's another like international girl who is one of the top in the game, I believe. And so I was like, okay, like this is freaking cool. Like this is being like in this match is a privilege, I felt like.
That's awesome. So you were about 2 months in Japan. What do you think you take away the most from your trip to Japan?
I don't know. I think probably just, I don't know. I was just so humbled afterwards, because I know how much like some other wrestlers and stuff try to get over there, or they might not have the opportunity to go wrestle for Stardom. And like Stardom just again seemed like such a dream that was like so far out of reach, and beyond privilege for being able to go there like when I got to. And I think that everyone was just so amazing there, like knowing that it's like I celebrated my 1-year anniversary in Japan. Like not a lot of people can get to say that, and not a lot of people can even say that they've gotten to go wrestle in Japan. And so nothing that I did over there was taken for granted. I like tried to work my butt off as much as I could, take in as much as I could. I have kept good relationships with all the girls, and I mean, it still doesn't seem real. And to be able to say that, like, I've like gone there, like even saying it out loud, like it's like I haven't even hit my like, because the end of February will be like my 2-year anniversary. And so like to say I've already been able to go to Stardom, like who gets to say that, you know?
You should be. Yeah, you're very thankful, and that's awesome that you're very thankful for what you've gotten so far, what you've earned so far. I'll say what you've earned.
Thank you.
So what did you take in ring from Japan that you brought back in ring to the United States?
Definitely confidence and aggressiveness. I mean, just even like my demeanor in the ring, like I just felt like, you know what, like I did this in another country with other girls who didn't speak the same language and who played the game a lot harder than what I had probably come from. And so, like, when I came back, it was just like, I can do this. And so it's like, even I always know my level, and coming back, it was just like, my confidence like skyrocketed. Like, I just felt like, okay, like, I know I can do this, or I know that I still have things to work on, and I know that I'm gonna be constantly learning, and I'm always need to get better. All of us need to get better all the time, but I just felt so much more confident in myself, and I think that helped me so much.
Are any Japan trips planned in the future at all yet?
We are trying. I know there's like a bunch of changes right now because of like the new ownership and all that. So the girls will like message me all the time. So we're working on some stuff, but I have some like other countries lined up in the future, of course, like you know, like with the crash. So those will be like cool experiences also.
Yeah, I've been to Korakuen Hall. I've been to the Auditorio in Tijuana. They're very different, but they're both so much fun. You're gonna have a blast down there.
Oh, I'm so excited. Like, Mexico was one of my goals for this year. So when the crash finally contacted me, and then told me it was going to be in January, I was like, yes.
Do you speak Spanish?
Not really.
I'm going to say, well, they'll teach you some bad words to say to the crowd down there if you want.
Oh, I'm sure. And then I'll know what those words are.
Yeah, that's the Spanish you know, huh?
Yeah.
That's the Spanish we all know.
Exactly.
Alex, where can we find you on social media?
So on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at AlexGracia3. Everything's the same across the board. So I try to stay up with all those and communicate with everyone and be active on there as much as possible.
And you also have merchandise at AlexGracia at BigCartel.com?
Yes, I have a new t-shirt, everybody.
Her calendars are sold out, but you can still buy her t-shirts.
Yes, I know. The calendars, and I feel so bad. People have been messaging me, and I'm like, oh, I might have to print some more.
Do a second run, yeah.
Right?
All right. I want to thank you so much for joining the show. I sincerely appreciate it, and I'll see you next month in Tijuana.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Can't wait to meet you.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.